Hello, everyone. I am doing chapter 3 and chapter 4 of the human behavior for the human behavior class. I don't know how many times I've redid this video. Please excuse my appearance. My sinuses has part of my face swollen and my head just is, yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to go over chapter 3 and chapter 4 briefly. I'm just going to talk about some of the main points that we have that you guys should know because you will see them again. So on page 59 of chapter 3, it talks about the disease model, which it states it is rooted in the psychological process that affects behavior and development. It also talks about how the individual's illness and dysfunction contribute to its problem. So when I think about it this way. I think about how illness impacts dysfunction and how dysfunction impacts illness. A prime example of this could be individuals who have some sort of addiction. Let's just say someone is strung out on crack, right? And so because they are strung out on crack, do you think these individuals will take the time to think about HIV? Do you think they will take the time to think about, their personal wellness, their personal grooming? Do you think that they will take the time out on any other health problems that they have? I would say not. I would say for individuals that are most definitely deep into their addiction, they're going to take the time to cater to their addiction versus their physical health. They will focus more on their addiction versus getting a clean needle or clean works. I also think about individuals who are alcoholics and have cirrhosis of the liver and have to, let's say, go to dialysis. Most times individuals did not think about their liver when they were drinking. Thus, it turned into cirrhosis. It turned into a failed liver. I think about individuals when I'm in the hospital or anywhere who have oxygen tanks and still smoke. You know what I'm saying? Like they're addicted to their cigarettes. And even though they know that an open flame will cause the oxygen tank to explode, they're still going to smoke that cigarette. So again, when I think about the disease model, I think about how the illness impacts the dysfunction and the dysfunction impacts the illness. On page 82, you will find Freud's theory of psychosexual development. He talks about the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is unconscious or the pleasure principle, ego, rational aspect of the mind or the reality principle. And then you have the superego, which is the conscious or the moral and values. As long as you are in education, as long as you're learning about human behavior, you're going to learn about the id, the ego, and the superego. So you might as well memorize it now. Page 88, you have Erickson's stages of psychosocial development. There are 8 stages. Memorize them. If I had to memorize them, you got to memorize them. And I actually still use these stages to this day. I think it's most definitely foundational work, foundational knowledge. So most definitely get to know your 8 stages. And you can find those on page 88. Page 93, operant conditioning. Basically, it states that the consequences of behavior that result in, the consequences of behavior that result in a behavior change. So as we know, if you do something wrong, you get in trouble. Which is punishment. You are conditioned, as a child, we were conditioned to do things in a certain manner. And we either were conditioned positively or negatively. These things were reinforced either through spankings, whoopings, punishments, or candy, praise, or whatever. So operant conditioning. It also talks about the primary component of operant conditioning is reinforcement, positive and negative. So I think that's common sense. Page 94 talks about social learning. The social learning theory, and it also talks about modeling. In order to think about social learning, think about children, especially individuals that are in preschool, and how they can come in and model a behavior, whether it be from their parents, whether it be from their class. For those who have children, you know how you can send your kid to daycare, they come back and they have a new vocabulary word or a new behavior. It is because they learned that from their community. They learned that from their environment. So you have social learning. Smoke wants to say hi. Say hi, Smoke. So you have social learning theory. Get down. Okay. Let's do chapter 4. Chapter 4, conflict theory, no conflict theory. Feminist theory, page 128, know that. What I really want to spend a little bit of time on is culture. The book states that culture is a result of all human endeavors. It includes norms, values, customs, symbols, thoughts, traditions, politics, religion, languages, philosophies, and material objects. We all have a part of our culture displayed somewhere, whether it be in our home, whether it be in our work office, whether it be on our car, whether we have it tattooed on us. We all display our culture somewhere, and our culture is what impacts us in our thought process. And culture is also a learned behavior. It is something that we learn from our parents, from our environment, etc. It talks about ethnicity and social class. And what it talks about, it states that ethnicity and social class should help social workers or people understand how society perceives certain groups. So when I think about this, I think about, and I'm not trying to speak for all Black people here, but how some Black people don't like the police. It's something that we've learned, and we were learned due to our environment, and it's reinforced through the behavior or the racial relationships that we have with police officers. There are some cultures that love police officers, and they love them because of their relationship with those police officers. So again, ethnicity and social class should help us understand why certain people have a behavior or mentality towards a group. Page 133 talks about the dual perspective. Dual perspective is how people from minority groups perceive different systems and how these experiences impact them and their development. So let's just talk about Black people and police. Well, one of the reasons why some Black people don't like the police is because it could be seen that that system, that correctional system, has never done us right. We can look on the news and see how Black people, men and women, have been killed by police officers, and the police officers have gotten away scot-free. We can see how we have gotten unfair trials. We can see how the rate of incarceration is most definitely... I'm sorry. Hey! I'm sorry. How the rate of incarceration increases when it comes to minorities, especially African Americans. So that's dual perspective. And then on page 134, it's multiculturalism. And it refers to the idea that all cultures should be treated and recognized equally. So that is a rabbit hole within itself that I'm not going to jump down. But I would like to pose a question. Multiculturalism states, again, it states that it is the idea that all cultures should be treated and recognized equally. In 2019, Are all cultures within the United States recognized equally? That is something that I want you guys to think about. And then I want you to think about why in 2019, all cultures, whether it be Black, white, Jewish, Christians, gays, lesbians, atheists, whomever, whatever culture you can think of, why aren't these cultures treated or recognized equally? Yeah, that's all I got. It's short, sweet, to the point. If you have any questions, most definitely text me or hit up the coffee shop. Bye.